it can get hard, to try to stay on track sometimes.
It is.
And like you really gotta like be dialed in good because you can't fall off. Especially I feel like in these times.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
It's easy. We talked about that actually yesterday for most of chapel, and I actually found this quote that I really liked from one of my apologetic study Bibles. And it was that what the devil or false doctrine does not accomplish in the church, self-centered materialism often will. About how we let the material stuff kind of dictate what we do. Because we talked about the Church of Laodicea and how they basically trusted in their stuff and their wealth. And then Jesus is like, yeah, but you guys could care less about me. So, and we can see that that's kind of how the world is today. Right. Especially Americanized church. We can really see that. That it's more about how much they can get from God instead of what's already been done for them.
Right.
So, which is horrible and sucks. And
there's just also so much out there that like subconsciously maybe you see or hear, you don't notice.
Yeah.
There's just so much evil in like today's day and age, like advertisements. Like you may just look at it but not really think anything of it, but maybe it's affecting your subconscious, or maybe something you hear. Maybe some music, maybe,
or movies. How many of us love the Marvel movies, but we don't realize that they're actually teaching the opposite.
Right.
Usually, like take Infinity War. They amass this earthly army to go against the one coming from the sky. Think about how reversed that is from what we know.
Right.
We know that Jesus is going to be coming from the sky. So Jesus in this scenario is actually Thanos, and the armies of the world are coming against him.
It's crazy, yeah.
So, but they're portraying Jesus as being the bad guy.
Right.
So, and that happens in a lot of movies, like even the Transformer movies, they did the same thing. Megatron is actually really the good guy because he's wanting to bring unity instead of...
It's crazy, man. If you think about it like that, but really, yeah.
Yeah, if you examine movies, you can find that stuff.
Yeah. I remember like growing up, like people liked Harry Potter's, not everybody, but some people. I always didn't really like it. I remember like kind of watching the movie a little bit when I was younger, but I think Harry Potter's like evil, dude.
Well, it teaches, even the lady who wrote the books, she says that they are a gateway into witchcraft and occultism.
Right.
And she's like, that's what I wrote them for. But yeah, no, but you see that in a lot of movies. Like Disney movies are horrible at that. They do that stuff all the time. Like every Disney movie is kind of.
And you gotta think, because, say, when did movies come out for the first time? 100, 200 years ago?
It was maybe 100.
100 years ago? So that means, all of us, all of our generation, 100 years ago, whatever, have been affected by that. But generations before never had, maybe they had different things that affected them.
Yeah, they had different things.
But maybe it's on a whole higher scale now than it was before. I don't know.
It's easier now to deceive people.
That's probably the
It's easier to deceive people. Just like the Bible says, is that we want to hear what we want to hear. We want to have our ears tickled. We don't want sound biblical teaching anymore. We want what makes us feel good and what makes us, look at ourselves and go, man, I feel great now.
Right.
Instead of what the Spirit and the Bible are really going to do to you, and it's going to cause you to recognize the gravity of sin. So
pretty much how you're entertained though. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and that's what we've been talking about. Yeah, most like the big name pastors these days, they're more about putting on a show than putting out sound doctrine.
Joel Osteen. Just kidding.
Joel Osteen, Stephen Furtick. You got all these guys. It's more about the worship experience than it is about the sound doctrine.
The
You know,
experience is supposed to come from the sound doctrine, not the other way around.
yeah. And that's what ticks me off about American church now. And that's part of the reason that I don't really do American church anymore.
I see.
Like, I'm trying to do a church in my home,
Right.
where we can actually get back to
Which is
biblical basics of.
just fine, you know.
I mean, that's how the church was for the first 300 years. They met in homes, and it was just pure biblical teaching and letting Jesus lead your assembly and lead your gathering, and it was about growing as a family.
Right now, we go back, skip one back, the show called The Walton. Remember? And that family was like that. You brought it home, what we're talking about, bringing it home, and that kind of, family-wise.
Yeah. And it's just I want to get back. I want to be able to go back to the purity of what believers were in the beginning.
Right.
After Jesus' ascension, it was about his teaching. It was about what he had explained to the disciples and what he opened them up to understand. So their teaching was sound. It was biblical. It was beautiful. And we have such a watered down, sissified version of that now because we don't want to tell people the hard truths.
Right.
We don't want to tell people that they're sinners. We want them to feel good so that they'll keep coming and they'll keep tithing. Because then I can have my 10-bedroom home. Or I can buy my next Lear jet.
You know what's sad about that is that's what pushes so many people away.
Yeah.
From it. Just simply mostly other Christians not acting right or I mean, we're all going to sin, we're all going to mess up, but I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's there's a hard mix to it all. It's okay, people will want to say that they don't want to go to church because, well, everybody there is hypocrites. Well, what are you? I mean, you fall in the same line as that. We're all hypocrites in some way or another. It's just we actually recognize the gravity of that, and we're doing, what we can in Jesus to overcome those things and to let the new man take over instead of just giving ourselves over to it.
The spirit changes.
Yeah, and that's the difference that people don't understand, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to show them that difference and explain that difference. So, but we could probably talk the entire half hour about this stuff. But even still, it's just even when we go through this and we start to see some of the description of God, it's well, why would you deny this? Why would you deny that this was actually seen by somebody?
Right.
And not only was it seen by one person, it was seen by several other people. It's just, I don't understand why people don't believe. But then I remember that, well, it's because they have the choice to believe or not.
Right.
And so,
Free will.
yeah. God will freely let you choose what you want to believe. So if he forces you, it's not belief. It's not faith. It's not loving. So, but